Korean summers are not gentle. From roughly midsummer onward, the country turns hot and intensely humid, with a monsoon season that drapes everything in heavy, sticky air and sudden downpours. It's the kind of heat that makes you wilt the moment you step outside. And yet, daily life barely slows down, because South Korea has developed an entire toolkit, part technology, part tradition, part clever habit, for staying cool and comfortable through the worst of it. From the way buildings and transit are kept frigid to the foods people crave and the gadgets they carry, beating the heat here is a refined, everyday art. Nobody just suffers through summer. They manage it with 100 small, practical moves. Let's walk through how Koreans beat the summer heat, and why a brutally hot, humid season somehow never quite manages to bring the country to a standstill. The result is a season met not with grim endurance, but with a whole toolkit of practical moves, so that even the stickiest weeks rarely manage to bring ordinary life to a halt. The first and most obvious weapon is air conditioning, which is genuinely everywhere. Homes, shops, restaurants, offices, and public transport are all reliably cooled, often to the point that you might want a light layer indoors. Buses and subway cars run cold, malls are chilled, and stepping inside almost anywhere offers instant relief. This blanket of cool air means you can cross a sweltering city while spending most of your time in comfortable temperatures, hopping from one cooled space to the next. The expectation that indoor spaces will be properly cold is so ingrained that the heat outside becomes something you pass through rather than endure for long stretches. Because the expectation of properly cold interiors is so ingrained, the heat outside becomes something you simply pass through between cooled spaces rather than something you have to suffer for long, sweaty stretches. From buildings and transit kept deliberately cold to the foods people crave and the small gadgets they carry, the season is managed with 100 practical moves rather than simply endured. Second, Korea's vast underground spaces double as cool refuges. Many cities have sprawling underground shopping arcades and passages connected to subway stations, naturally shaded and air-conditioned, where you can walk, shop, eat, and escape the sun entirely. On a blazing afternoon, you can travel and run errands almost entirely below ground, never touching direct sunlight. These subterranean networks turn the punishing midday heat into a non-issue for huge stretches of a city, offering a comfortable, climate-controlled world just beneath the streets that locals slip into without a second thought during the hottest hours. On a blazing afternoon, you can run errands almost entirely below ground without touching direct sunlight, and these climate-controlled passages quietly turn the punishing midday hours into a non-issue for huge stretches of the city. Third, the country sets up designated cooling shelters during heat waves, especially to protect older and more vulnerable people. Public buildings, community centers, and other cooled spaces are opened as official refuges where anyone can come in, sit down, and cool off for free. This is a deliberate public health measure, recognizing that extreme heat is dangerous, not just uncomfortable. By making sure there's always a safe, cool place to retreat to within reach, these shelters add a layer of protection for those who might not have strong air conditioning at home, turning community spaces into a quiet safety net through the hottest weeks. By guaranteeing there's always a safe, cool place within reach, these official refuges add a real layer of protection for anyone whose home cooling is weak, turning ordinary community buildings into a quiet summer safety net. Fourth, the humble portable fan has become a summer essential everyone seems to carry. Small handheld and USB rechargeable fans are wildly popular, tucked into bags and pulled out the moment the heat bites, on the street, waiting for a bus, or sitting outdoors. They're cheap, light, and surprisingly effective at making sticky air bearable. This little gadget has become such a fixture that you'll see people of all ages fanning themselves with them everywhere in summer. It's a simple, personal answer to the heat, a pocket-sized breeze on demand that makes the gaps between air-conditioned spaces far more comfortable. You'll see people of every age fanning themselves on the street and at bus stops, and this pocket-sized breeze on demand makes the gaps between air-conditioned spaces far more bearable than they would otherwise be. Fifth, people arm themselves with a range of sun and heat accessories. Cooling towels that you wet and drape around your neck, cooling arm sleeves, and parasols used as sun umbrellas are all common sights. Shielding yourself from direct sun, and adding a touch of evaporative cooling makes a real difference in the worst of it. These small tools reflect a practical, unembarrassed attitude toward managing the heat. You protect yourself with whatever works, whether that's a parasol on a bright day or a chilled towel on your shoulders, and the result is a population noticeably better equipped to handle the sun than in places where such things are rare. It reflects a practical, unembarrassed attitude toward the sun. You protect yourself with whatever actually works, which leaves the population noticeably better equipped for a brutal day than in places where such gear is rare. Sixth, the food turns cold and refreshing, and craving it is part of the season's rhythm. Summer is the time for Naengmyeon, chilled buckwheat noodles in an icy broth, for kongguksu in a cold soybean soup, and for patbingsu, the towering bowls of shaved ice piled with sweet toppings. Cold drinks and iced coffees flow constantly. These dishes aren't just relief, they're beloved seasonal traditions people genuinely look forward to. Eating your way cool, with a bowl of icy noodles or a mountain of shaved ice, makes the heat feel less like an enemy and more like an excuse to enjoy some of the best treats of the year. These dishes aren't just relief, but beloved seasonal rituals people genuinely look forward to. So eating your way cool turns the heat from an enemy into an excuse to enjoy some of the best treats of the entire year. On the worst days, that touch of evaporative cooling and shade can be the difference between wilting and staying comfortable enough to keep going. Seventh, when the city gets too oppressive, people escape to cooler places. Shaded mountain valleys with cold streams, water parks, the breezy banks of the Han River, and the beaches of coastal cities like Busan all draw crowds seeking relief. Splashing in cool water or sitting by a mountain stream is a classic Korean summer pleasure. This instinct to head for water and shade gives the season its own geography of escape, a set of go-to spots where the heat eases and summer becomes something to enjoy rather than endure, whether for an afternoon or a proper weekend getaway. This instinct to head for water and shade gives the season its own geography of escape, a set of go-to spots where the heat finally eases and summer becomes something to enjoy rather than simply survive. Eighth, the monsoon season demands its own preparations, and people are ready. During the heavy rains, sturdy umbrellas, rain gear, and quick-drying clothes come out, while well-developed drainage and reliable forecasts help cities cope with the downpours. Convenience stores stock umbrellas for anyone caught out, and people check the rain radar before heading anywhere. Rather than being paralyzed by the wet season, daily life adapts smoothly around it. Being prepared for sudden, drenching rain is simply part of the summer routine, so the monsoon becomes an inconvenience to manage rather than a force that shuts everything down. Convenience stores stock cheap umbrellas for anyone caught in a downpour, and people check the rain radar before heading out. So the monsoon becomes an inconvenience to manage smoothly rather than a force that shuts everything down. Ninth, even the transit and public spaces are designed with the heat in mind. Subway cars and stations are kept cool, and many bus stops have evolved into smart, shaded shelters, some with cooling features, seating, and protection from the sun while you wait. Those few minutes standing outside for a bus, often the most miserable part of a hot commute, are made far more bearable. This attention to the small, sweaty gaps in a journey reflects how thoroughly the heat is accounted for, so that getting around in summer doesn't mean baking on an exposed corner between cool destinations. Attention to those few miserable minutes waiting on an exposed corner shows how thoroughly the heat is accounted for. So getting around in summer doesn't mean baking between one cool destination and the next. Reliable forecasts and well-developed drainage help cities absorb sudden downpours, so daily life bends around the rain instead of grinding to a stop. 10th, the home itself gets a summer makeover with cooling textiles and bedding. People swap in breathable fabrics, lay down cooling mats, traditionally bamboo or rattan, and now also cool touch materials, and switch to light, airy summer bedding designed to wick away heat. Sleeping through a humid night becomes far easier with the right surfaces beneath you. These seasonal swaps show how beating the heat extends right into the bedroom, with simple changes that make rest possible when the air outside stays warm and thick. Comfort at night is treated as seriously as comfort during the day. These simple seasonal swaps make sleeping through a humid night far easier, showing how beating the heat reaches right into the bedroom, where comfort at night is treated every bit as seriously as comfort during the day. Add it all up, and you'll see that Koreans don't simply endure summer, they actively outmaneuver it. The cool air indoors, the underground escapes, the public shelters, the pocket fans, the cold noodles and shaved ice, the trips to water, the monsoon readiness, and the cooling beds all combine into a comprehensive, lived-in strategy. The heat is real and serious, but it's met with so many practical answers that life keeps flowing through even the stickiest weeks. It's a great example of the broader Korean knack for taking a genuine, everyday problem and quietly solving it from every angle at once. It's a vivid example of the broader Korean knack for taking a genuine, recurring problem and quietly solving it from every angle at once, so that life keeps flowing even through the hottest, heaviest weeks of the year.